Hi, welcome to Corner Fine Art. Today I am doing part 2 just to show you the process of printmaking that I started last week. I have the ink and I'm ready to ink up the piece of fiber here. So I got these supplies from Amazon. And I have an affiliate account, so if you're interested in purchasing these tools, I will be leaving the links down below. So in order to ink up the block, I just have a piece of cardboard here that I'm using. I spread some ink with palette knife, and I'm using the speedball ink. And with this ink roller, I'm just rolling it on the ink just to get it evenly applied on there, and just applying it all over the carving that I did. And I'm using black ink, but you can really use any color ink that you want with your printmaking projects. But I wanted to start with a basic black just to see what it would look like on the paper. And if I want to add some color later, I can definitely do that. So just applying a little bit more ink as I go. I didn't want to just put a bunch of ink on my palette to start with, because sometimes, I may have extra, don't want to waste it. So I'm just doing it little by little. And again, to show you how I put it on the roller, I just make sure it's evenly applied on there, so when I put it on the block, it's not chunky and it doesn't have that texture on it. So that's why it's important to have it evenly applied on the roller. So you want to pass the roller a few times on the palette so that it's spread out evenly. And then I'm using a cross-hatching method to apply the ink in some of the areas. And with the first inking, it takes a little bit more ink because some of it is absorbed into the material. So you definitely want to make sure that the ink is evenly spread out. Okay, so now I'm done inking, and I'm going to be using this paper to do a proof. And this is just regular drawing paper. I haven't really invested in printmaking paper yet because I do want to do some proofs before I decide on the kind of paper that I want to purchase. And the printing papers are much more thicker, and I will be doing a video hopefully in the future about the kinds of papers. But for now, just this paper is 18 by 24, and I also do have a link to a paper pad of that size on my website that I will be sharing with you. And I'm using a wooden spoon to varnish, some hand varnishing the ink into the paper. So I'm using circular motions with the wooden spoon here. Okay, so I want to make sure all the ink gets onto the paper evenly, so there aren't any gaps or spots that didn't get any ink. And this takes some elbow grease. It definitely works your arm. So try to do it with a certain amount of pressure that you're getting the ink well on the paper, but also not too much that it's ripping the paper. So it definitely takes practice. But I'm pulling the paper a little bit, and you can see how the ink didn't get into those spots that are still white. So I'm putting the paper down again and varnishing some more so that the ink gets on the paper. So the good thing about this ink is that it's sticky. So whenever I pull the paper up to check if it absorbed or into the paper, it doesn't move around too much. So here now you can see how it's much better. There's less white and the ink was transferred to the paper better by rubbing it a little bit more. So like I was saying, it's good that the ink is sticky so the paper doesn't move around when I pull it up from an area, because sometimes it happens that if you pull the paper up, it moves around in other areas. So when you rub it again, it creates like a double image effect, which you don't want. Alright, so I'm checking the other side. And it's looking good, so I'm pulling it up. So here's my first proof. And I like it. I love the textures, I love the contrast, and I love printmaking, and I hope that you can try it, and I hope these videos are helpful if you're beginning to explore these materials. So thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe and visit my website, coronafineart.com. Also my social media, Facebook and Instagram, Corona Fine Art. You can find the links down below. And I hope you stay tuned for some future videos that I will be doing that have to do with this series and other painting and drawing videos. Thank you, and until next time.